What's up, guys? We're going to tie the Wally wing Mayfly. Start off with a size 12 dry fly hook in the vise. We're going to use gray thread. So go ahead and get it started. Right about there. Snip off your tag in. Now this is just how I do it. This isn't necessarily the right way or the wrong way. This is just how I do it. Work your thread down a little bit. I like to make a base of just thread. It helps the material stick better. Next, we're going to throw in a tail. I'm using about 15 to 20 fibers from a Coq de Leon feather. Go ahead and make sure the tips are aligned. Keep the tips aligned, like so. Switch them into your hand. It's going to be just a little bit longer than a hook shank in length. Switch them over and tie them in. A little bit long. You can snip off the tag in, and there's the tail. Now, Mayfly tails kind of go up a little bit, they flare up. So what you can do is lift the tail up, go underneath it. I do 2 times, then one more over the top, and that kind of flares it up. Bring your thread about 3/4 of the way back, leaving a couple hook eye lengths behind the eye of the hook. And now we're going to tie in what is going to be the Wally wing. We're going to grab a mallard flank feather. This is just a natural mallard flank. And what we're going to do is strip off the fuzzies on both sides. And just trim off the very end. Then, grabbing the tips of the feather, we're going to preen these back. Even amount on both sides. So you're left with something like that. Switch hands. Okay, so what you're going to do is you want it curving up this way. You don't want it like this. You want it like this. Grab the tips in one hand like this. Then you're going to stroke these back. Put a little pressure. And left with something like that. Pinch it in this hand like this. You're going to rotate this finger and thumb. And you're going to pinch it firmly like that. Which will leave you with that. Now, you want the wing to be about a hook shank in length. A little bit shorter is fine. That's how I do mine, a little bit shorter. I think they look a little better. So, with that being said, transfer this up. You want this to be about 2 eyes back from the hook eye, where you're going to transfer, where you're going to tie it in. One wrap, just kind of capture it, pull up, and then a nice tight wrap behind that. And then a few more wraps to secure it on there. Next, you can cut off excess, so you're left with something like that. And tie in all the tag in, and then what you're going to want to do, and this is kind of a tricky part, take the feather, grab some of the fibers on the one side, and you're going to strip them back. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Grab a few fibers, strip it back. So then, that middle part, Go ahead and snip that off. You don't need that no more. And then these little wispy feathers at the end, or fibers of the feather, just carefully snip those off. Both sides. Now what you can do is kind of just work them where they need to be. And then you can cross wrap. So, pinch them, bring them up, and then I like to throw a few wraps in front of them. Help stand them up a little bit more. So, alright, so now that we have our wings where we want them, go ahead and advance your thread back to the base of the tail. And we're going to tie in, or we're going to dub in a body. For this, I went ahead and blended up a rabbit fur dubbing in a darkish gray color that I like to use on these ones. And you want to dub a very thin noodle. Very thin, tight noodle. Stand up a little better. What's going on here? Behind the wing. Next up, we're going to add our hackle, just using grizzly hackle. Go ahead and stroke some of those back a little bit. We're going to rip off some of the ones on the top, and on the bottom, and just a few more on the top. Tie this in. Couple wraps in front of the wings, and then finish it off a couple wraps behind the wing. Then I like to do a couple turns in front or in behind it, and then a couple turns in front. Capture it. Back. Your whip finish tool. Whip finish. Snip or cut your thread. Snip off the excess hackle. Adjusting. That is the Wally wing Mayfly. Gonna do it for this one. I appreciate you guys checking in. Until next time, you guys take it easy. I'll catch you on the next one.